It's another video about motorcycle tests. 2 days ago I took my Mod 2 test and I passed. So, won't be needing these anymore. And I'll tell you about my experience and my thoughts to help you if you're considering doing your Mod 2 test in the not too distant future. So yeah, I've passed my Mod 2 bike test, which is now all of the tests that I needed to have done to get my full A motorcycle license, so now I can ride any bike that I like, assuming I can afford it and insure it, and obviously the cost of running it, and no more L plates. So there's quite a few videos online of people kind of taking you through kind of, you know, what to do and an onboard video of their Mod 2 test. So I'm not going to do that. Just thought I'd talk very briefly about my experiences and what I recommend people do in preparation for their Mod 2 test. So first of all, I'd say if you can, practice. Obviously you want to have some instruction so you don't pick up too many obviously bad habits, but I really am glad that I bought the motorcycle that I did, so I can kind of get plenty of kind of time in the saddle, as it were. So I did around 600 miles on my own bike plus mileage, and obviously a larger bike. Some people will say that perhaps there's not much point practicing on a 125 if you're doing the obviously test for the larger bike, but I don't agree. I feel like I got a lot of benefit out of just riding and experience on the roads and doing the manoeuvres for the the previous test as well as Mod 2. So definitely see if you can do that. Obviously get good instruction, so find an instructor that you kind of gel with and you think is doing the best to kind of help you, well, ideally pass the test, but I think more importantly make you a better and safer rider. I was able to find that, so that was good. Also kind of keep calm, take things slow, kind of keep it kind of steady in your mind, keep relaxed, and kind of think things through. I think most of the times when you do the Mod 2, the things you're going to kind of fail on are going to be stupid mistakes. So leaving your indicator on after a turn, not realising that a junction is a stop as opposed to give way. So just giving way when you really should have come to a complete stop, feet down, properly demonstrating that you're stopped and you know what's going on and you're reading the road. Good observations way ahead of you, and making sure that you're checking the mirrors at the right times. So what I'm tending to do is anytime I see a road sign indicating speed or what have you, or junctions, I'm checking mirrors. Obviously before manoeuvring I'm mirroring, signalling and lifesaver checks, and obviously any time that you are speeding up or slowing down as well, doing the mirror checks as well. So all the things that you should know already before you're getting ready to take this Mod 2 test, but they're the kind of key things for me that I'm always thinking. I'm thinking, right, okay, need to change, got a junction coming up, got a lane coming up or something, so I'm making sure I'm observing, I'm checking my mirrors, I'm signalling, and I'm either lifesaver before manoeuvre, and then obviously manoeuvring back into the right position, cancelling indicators and all that, and that's kind of seemed to do me well. I got through my test with 2 minors, which I think is pretty good, and I'll talk to you a little bit about kind of how the test went and how I got those minors. Okay, so to talk about my Mod 2 test day, so as with pretty much all of my kind of motorcycle learning experience, it has been raining a lot in this country. The weather has been terrible. I met my instructor at 8:30 in the morning. My test was at 12 minutes. So we spent the morning kind of riding around, one travelling from Bromsgrove, which is where my instructor is based, to Worcester, which is where my test was going to be. But we went to Redditch first and just did some general kind of on the road riding, so you can kind of just continue to do a bit of assessment of me. Then we got to Worcester, had a little ride around. Everything was going pretty well. I was actually really happy with how I rode. I don't want to say perfect because I don't think you can ever be perfect, but it was pretty damn close. Nice and safe, good counts of indicators. One little issue of lane positioning on one of the roundabouts, but apart from that, it was pretty good. Sat down in the test centre. The examiner came out, seemed like a really nice guy. I think his name was Duncan, and because I was there a bit early, he said, right, we're going to go early. So, any problems with that? So the answer was no. So then we went outside, did the kind of reading the license plate to make sure your eyes are working properly. Then I had a couple of show me, tell me questions as a normal kind of way. So he asked you about obviously the bike that you're using. He asked me about things I need to do when carrying a passenger. So what should I tell them? So obviously not to distract you, to be the last person on, the first person off, agree a signal ahead of time and how they can contact you because they need to kind of tell you something important, but obviously not distract you. To not, to sit astride the bike, to hold on to either the grab handles or yourself as the rider, not to give any signals or indication, but to kind of help lean a little bit into corners and lean forward when accelerating. So that all went okay. Question about checking that the steering was working properly. So you just basically, that was a show me one. So you just make sure the bike is level and you can turn the handlebars all the way. There's no cable snagging or anything like that. And then asked me about kind of the wheels, and so I answered questions about making sure that it's got at least 1 millimetre tread depth, good coverage 3/4 over the tyre, no bulges, rips or tears in the sidewall. I also went a little bit further to say about making sure the wheel is aligned, no kind of chain wear and that kind of thing. So it's all kind of getting muddled in my head now because it was a bit anxious at the time. But obviously make sure you practice and know your show me, tell me questions. They are pretty important. I'll probably put something up on the screen that you can pause and help if you aren't familiar with them for some reason. Now when you kind of then get on the bike, so you told me to basically get ready, get on the bike. Probably like with your instructor, you've got just an earpiece in with a radio, so you can hear the examiner, but you can't speak back to him. And I knew that the Mod 2 test was going to be made up of a couple of things. One is riding under instruction, which is obviously where he's telling take the second left, third exit on the roundabout, all this kind of stuff, and pull over here and all that. So he's going to ask you to pull over at least 3 times. One, just to pull over and pull away, make sure you're doing that safely. Once to pull over and then pull around an obstacle like a parked car or something, and also if a hill starts and stuff like that. So I knew that was going to happen, but I kind of thought that you kind of had an instructed ride like the first half, and then your independent ride the second half. An independent ride is basically when he says follow signs to X location, and then basically you're making your own judgments about what junction or roundabout to take and exits and that kind of thing. But it didn't quite work out that way. So the test, your riding time is about 35 minutes. So we left the test centre, left at the test centre, left again, left at the roundabout, and we started to go along, and he said, right, okay Dale, straight away we're going to go into independent riding. So I'd like you to head towards Kidderminster, which was fine. So we're heading along the road, coming up to a big roundabout that then leads onto another roundabout, which is the junction 6 of the M5, and there is mega traffic all the way back down from that junction 6 roundabout, all the way back past the other roundabout. Must have been, I don't know, 50 odd cars, something like that. Now, when you're doing your test, you don't have to filter, so you can just kind of sit in traffic. And in some ways you might think that's a good idea, because you can just basically consume a lot of time just sat in traffic basically. But at the same time I'm thinking, surely the examiner can't assess you if you're just sat in traffic for 30 minutes. So I decided to filter. So checked my mirrors, I signalled, did my lifesaver, and slowly filtered up and around the traffic. Ambulance ended up coming around, so managed to pull in and get out of the way of that. That was all fine. Could see the examiner a little bit further back, because when the ambulance came, he pulled in where he was and I was a bit further up, so I pulled in. Then kind of sat in the traffic for a little bit and moved forward, turned left at this big roundabout to head along a dual carriageway to Kidderminster. And obviously when I get up to that roundabout, I look in my mirrors and I can't see the examiner, but I can still hear him in the earpiece, so I know he's around. I can hear him breathing and the sound of his bike. So this dual carriageway has currently got roadworks, so it goes from a 30 then into 70, and it's important obviously if it's safe to do so to get up to speed and do the speed limit. So go through the 30, get into 70, and I head up to 70 in a controlled manner, and away I go. And I'm looking, I still can't see the examiner, and then I hear the radio says disconnected, out of range. Oh. So I keep on riding because this road is pretty long, and then I realise that he's obviously got caught up in that big kind of tailback of traffic, and so then I'm getting a bit worried for a couple of reasons. One, he had said to me that if for some reason I get a little bit stuck behind you, just keep following the instruction, I will either tell you to pull over or something. But obviously now I've lost radio communication. I'm thinking, right, okay, I just need to follow signs to Kidderminster. Whatever happens, just keep going to Kidderminster, because that's what he said, and so if he's obviously going to remember that, and then he'll catch up with me in a minute. So time's going on. It's probably been about 4 minutes. It felt like eternity, but this is quite a long dual carriageway, and I'm obviously doing 70. Then I decided that I think the right thing for me to do would be to slow down. So I slowed down to around 50. There wasn't many cars, so I wasn't holding anyone up. But I figured he probably shouldn't be breaking the speed limit to catch up with me. So if he's going to do 70 and I'm doing 70, we're never going to catch up again. So I will slow down to 50 and then gradually he can catch me up. And thankfully he did, right towards the end of that dual carriageway, as you come up to another roundabout when I was going to turn right to head towards Kidderminster. He kind of caught up with me, and literally at the last second the radio just kind of cut in and I heard left to Worcester. So I was like, oh. So I was just about to lane change everything and head right to Kidderminster, so glad that didn't happen. So that was kind of the kind of worst bit, because what was going through my head is, why is he not behind me? And my brain's thinking, well, is he not behind me because even though I felt like I did everything right, maybe I did. Maybe somehow I did something dangerous that I shouldn't have done, even though I hadn't recognised it. And so the reason he wasn't behind me is because obviously he's not doing something dangerous. So I'm thinking, great, a few minutes in and I've had a major fault and failed my test already. So I'd already decided whatever happened on the test, even if I think I screwed something up, I just need to get that out of my head and just continue to ride my ride and kind of see how I got on. So we went through the rest of the test, pretty much without fault towards the end. There's lots of back roads and tight roads, and okay, it's freezing cold. And it's raining. Went down this one side street that was near a building site, so there was all mud and all sorts of crap all over the road. It was real kind of skittish and everything, but didn't fall off or anything. Everything was good. And then as we started to kind of head back in the direction of where the test centre was, like I said, pulled me over a few times to kind of do the pull-outs and everything. That was fine. Asked me to pull out on a slight incline to do the hill start, and that was fine. And then went to this other road, and it's got this really steep incline. I had to stop at a junction to turn left, and then I did a hill start there, and I rolled back half a centimetre, something like that. Again, ideally you don't want to roll back, right? But I did, but a very small amount. It was very controlled and didn't cause disruption to anyone else. And so I was a little bit worried that I might have got a minor for that, but I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, maybe I failed already anyway. But so now we're heading back pretty much towards the test centre. It's been about 30 odd minutes that we've been out altogether. The traffic was starting to get worse as well, and this is when then I had my two basically minor faults that I found out I had. So I was coming up to a roundabout, and I was behind a vehicle, and you can see another vehicle quite a way off coming from the other side. Plenty of room for me to kind of get onto the roundabout and manoeuvre around. but the car that I was behind for some reason pulled onto the roundabout and then just decided to stop for no reason. Didn't seem to conk out, just stopped on the roundabout. And so obviously by this time the car coming from the other direction is obviously moving along, has now also come onto the roundabout. So I just made the decision that I could continue to move around the vehicle, and so I did get a minor for that. And he, by his own admission, said that it's nothing really I could have done. I couldn't have foreseen that car stopping, just to be mindful that kind of thing can happen. So I got a bit of a minor for that one. And then coming up to a set of traffic lights, that very slow moving traffic, so I had to kind of slowly move forward, stationary, move forward, stationary, move forward. And my hands have gone so numb from gripping the handlebars so much, I guess due to stress, that I was having real kind of trouble at that point with the cold and the numbness of kind of feathering the throttle a little bit to move forward. So I did kind of feather, and I think he called it paddling. So I just kind of moved my bike forward a little bit with my legs, which, yeah, I guess you're not really supposed to do. So I got a little bit of a minor for that. But when I got back, like I said, then he told me I passed, and he said I rode really well. And again, just those couple of minors that he kind of pulled me up on, that nothing serious, just things to be aware of. And that was it. I passed. So it was a big relief. He didn't mention anything about the bit where he obviously got stuck in traffic or anything. I didn't see there's no point in bringing it up and asking questions that aren't relevant. So I think that's it. So if you're doing your Mod 2 test, I wish you best of luck, and keep those things in mind. Keep calm, keep smooth, don't screw up the obvious things. You're under pressure anyway, so you're going to there's a potential to make stupid mistakes. And even when you think you've made a stupid mistake, or maybe a big one, get it out of your head, just keep on going, because maybe you have not really done something stupid, maybe you did and someone didn't see it. So wish you all the best. Now I'm going to decide obviously what it is I'm going to do next in terms of bike wise, but one thing I know I'm going to do once I get a larger bike, and I've had that for a few months to kind of get more familiar, because now's when the real learning begins, right? This is all just about passing a test. I think I am going to do advanced riding and look to pass that to get even more comfort and capability on a two-wheeled machine. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.